Hey, good evening. We are thrilled that you are here as we continue to reopen on Sunday night. Junior high is meeting as well tonight, and we'll be on Sunday nights throughout the fall. We're just trying to keep the youth ministry spaced out. So Pastor Josh is out there. There's a good number of kids out there. Senior high will be meeting tomorrow night, and as well as our prayer meeting. And so we'd encourage you to come back tomorrow night at 6:45. Had a really good prayer meeting last week. But thank you for coming out tonight. Folks, I am glad that I can say as a collective we that we love babies. And I'm just so thankful for First Choice. And I guess I'm going to say this now, and I'm going to get really political with you, and I don't care. As the battle begins tomorrow for a new Supreme Court nominee, babies are the issue. Don't be naive about that. The left is terrified of a 6-3 conservative majority. I don't know who was going to be brave enough to say that. That's going to be the issue. It really, and I hope other people have thought of this, it really fries my bacon that Justice Ginsburg's supposedly last wish was that President Trump not replace her. She does not have that right. Her feelings do not supersede the Constitution and the outcome of legitimate elections. I hope someone else thought of that, because I'm not that bright, and I did. It is an example of her judicial activism, and that's what she was for 27 years, folks. We need to fervently beg God over this pick. I did some research this afternoon. 3 other judges have been confirmed within 45 days. She was one of them. Yeah. So the idea of it's a rush and it's hypocrisy, and nope. It's the president's job to pick nominees. And but again, for babies, life is what's at stake. And Proverbs 21:1, the heart of the king is in the hand of the Lord, like a river. He turns it whithersoever he will. And so I just trust. That's one of the things we're going to pray for tomorrow night. And we're going to continue to pray over the next 6 or 7 weeks. As you know, there will be tremendous pressure on Senator Collins. And she has already tweeted this weekend, kind of tipped her hand that we ought to wait until at least the election. I do not know if anything can be swayed there or not. She is in a no woman's land with the Kavanaugh vote and everything. I do not know what is going on there. In 2 weeks, Carol Conley is going to be with us. I hope he'll be able to bring some insight on that. And that I think 2 years ago with the Kavanaugh nomination, the conservatives and the churches in Maine, they didn't put a lot of pressure on her. They backed off, they prayed, and it worked, basically. I don't know what the approach should or could be this year, folks. But folks, we just need to pray. But that's what's at stake tomorrow. Babies will be the #1 issue. And so please continually take that before God. We love First Choice and what you folks are doing, Wendy, and we're just glad you're here tonight and you're amongst friends, and just tell us what's going on and what we need to be praying for specifically. Joy's frustration, don't be afraid to talk about money, but thank you for being here. Welcome.
It's always such an incredible blessing to be here. And I continue to say that Pastor Grant is the only pastor who calls me every spring and says, Wendy, let's get you on the calendar in the fall. So I feel like this is home, and I just thank you so much. Thank you for caring about babies. Thank you for your continuous prayers on behalf of First Choice and all that we do in the community. And prayer. It is just so, so, so important. We couldn't accomplish what is accomplished without you all praying. So thank you for that. this, this whole thing has just been insane, hasn't it? And it's affected us at First Choice just like it has affected all of you, but I am happy to say that we have not stopped ministering for one day. There were 2 weeks where we ministered from our homes, because in the beginning, like so many of you, we didn't know what was going on. We didn't know what was real. We didn't know, what was truth and all of that. So from our homes, we would, answer phone calls and text with clients. And if somebody needed a pregnancy test, then I would go in and do a pregnancy test. And if somebody needed, material assistance, then we would set up a meeting to get material assistance to them and all of that. So just very, very thankful. It's been crazy to navigate through everything, just like all of you. Every one of you have had to navigate and try to figure out things and, pray and ask God for wisdom, right? So I'm going to go down through. I have several different things I want to talk to you about, because you're all, like always, asking me, and you're in the know and you want to be in the know. So the first thing I want to talk about is a new location, because this is what we have been talking about for some time, and the board is, very much so that we need to be downtown in the midst of everything going on. But right now that is just kind of on hold, because we don't know what's going on. We know that rent downtown has just crazily skyrocketed. If we moved right now downtown, we would be paying probably double of what we're paying in our location right now. So we're praying. We don't want to run before the Lord, and just kind of, seeing what He will open up. And just like everything else in life, waiting on God is always a good thing, and we know that when He moves, it will be very evident and obvious, and we won't have to be like trying to pry things open. I'll just tell you up front from the very beginning that giving to us is down. It's down about $10,000 from what it was last year at this time, but I am so thankful that not every single, take away the not, every single person, church who had pledged to give has not missed their pledge at all. So I'm very, very thankful for that. I'm not at this point thankful. I'm not worried financially, because people have made good decisions financially for First Choice, so we're not, we're not worrying about whether we're going to be able to pay the rent or whatever next month at the moment. But Pastor Grant always tells me be open and honest about that, so I'm just telling you, that's, hi, that is the fact of the matter. Our journey with COVID, I already told you about how we ministered from the beginning, from our homes and stuff. And less than a year ago, this company, I've talked to you before about the Earn While You Learn program for moms and dads, like parenting classes, prenatal classes, all that kind of stuff. Well, the same company about a year ago started moving toward us being able to send the lessons via texting or via email to clients. And so we kind of, toyed with that a little bit before COVID. But once COVID hit, we found out what a valuable resource that was, because we were able to send the lessons to the moms and dads. And also in that, there's a lesson on, like, if somebody is abortion-minded. And so with their permission, we can send out to them, what abortion is and what it looks like and all this kind of stuff. So very thankful for the foresight of people. I'm not sure they really knew exactly how important it was going to be at the time, but we know that God knew that. So we've been ministering to a lot of people in sending those lessons out. And it's been, I don't know what we would have done in the beginning if we couldn't do that. So in the center for a while, I told, because we have some older people that volunteer with us, and I was like, you can't. You know, they're all like, I want to come in. I said, no, you are not coming in. You're staying home. That's the way it is for right now. So we were operating on really bare minimum of people in the center because we wanted to keep everybody safe, and we wanted to make sure that they were okay. And I mean, how horrible would that be if I was like, oh no, you can come, and then somebody gets COVID, and you know, that's just not a good thing. So, but I was surely blessed by the fact that they wanted to come anyway. And they're like, you know what, God has ordained the number of my days. I'm not going to leave this earth until he says I'm leaving this earth, so let me come. And I was like, sorry, I got to override you on this one. But so we have a few times, our policy is that we only see clients if there's 2 people in the center, just for safety reasons. And honestly, I did see a couple because I didn't want to call people from a long distance to come be there. So we're back anyway at full capacity of people volunteering, and the hours are covered and all of that. So we are open, our full hours. We have been since about 2 weeks after this, 3 weeks after this whole thing started. And I do want to tell you that this whole COVID thing, of course we won't know probably for a couple of years the number of abortions in the state of Maine, but from what we're seeing and hearing, the number of abortions are on the rise. And it's because these women are acting out of fear. You know, they're calling and they're like, I don't want to have to go to the hospital and have my baby by myself. I don't know what the world looks like. I don't know. What if I get COVID and then my baby gets COVID? I mean, just crazy, crazy fear. And so more and more people are looking to get an abortion, and it's all based on fear. So I am thankful that we are getting a substantial increase in the number of abortion-minded people that we're interacting with. Now, they don't all come into the center, but if you're on our prayer partners, you know that there's been more and more that we've been praying for and interacting with, and we get to speak truth to them. And, you know, so many times it's like, if they're going to choose abortion, why does God have them call us? And my only conclusion is that we get to pray for them. And we don't know what that does in the long run. You know, to begin with, it looks like nothing because they went and got an abortion. Our ways aren't God's ways. His ways are so much higher than ours, and I don't understand. But I am thankful for so many people who are willing to reach out and to spend their time in prayer for other people. You all, back a couple of weeks ago, we had a young lady who was abortion-minded. She called, and she was just like, I need to get an abortion. And we said, you know, well, we don't perform or refer for abortions. And she was like, why does this keep happening to me? Apparently she had called another pregnancy center. And I said, honey, the reason this keeps happening to you is because God has a plan for you, and he has a plan for this baby, and he is the one that is orchestrating who you're getting in touch with today. And so we talked sometimes. I think you all have been there where you just know that God has given you the things to say, and it's not even that you've pre-thought it, it's just there. And so that happened with this girl. And, you know, I could hear in her voice when her heart started to change. And before long, she made an appointment to come in, and she ended up choosing life. But so many people who are involved with us reached out to help her. And I really, really think it was because she saw, maybe for the first time in her life, that there were people who were willing to go above and beyond and to extend help to somebody that they didn't know. And she was just flabbergasted by that. So we're still in the process of ministering to her. We're able to connect her with some people in her area to mentor her. And her situation is overwhelming. But she was very touched, very moved by the fact that people were willing to help and to pray. And any opportunity I get to talk to her, you know, I said, you know, God is the one that's chosen you to be the mother of this baby. And so she is choosing life. I'm very thankful for that. I know of 2 women for you guys to pray for. One just miscarried last week, and another one is actively miscarrying right now. And the one that's miscarrying right now, she wanted to be pregnant. So if you would pray for her, she's young and she's hurting and she's scared. But again, another opportunity for us to share the truth of God's love with her and to speak into her heart and into her life. Do any of you have questions about our journey through COVID? I have all these points to move on to, but I just want to make sure I've got that covered for you. We are open, we are operating, and glad to be doing that. One thing that we have been talking about and praying about for years and is the whole abstinence. And I think I might have told you last year that the new acceptable term instead of abstinence is sexual risk avoidance. Sexual risk avoidance. This is the politically accepted term. It means abstinence. So we've had a few people in the past say, yes, I want to be part of this. They've come on, we trained them, they went out and started doing it, and then voila, they moved out of the area, out of state. And so I don't know why, but I just was praying, Lord, you know, I think it would be good if we had a nurse who could do this. And lo and behold, he brought us a nurse. And it was actually a result from the Defend Life event that we had last fall. And a couple weeks later, she came in and said, I really think that God wants me involved here. And so we sat down, and I was like, well, you know, we have enough nurses to do the ultrasound, thank God. And then I'm like, wait a minute. You know, sometimes I'm kind of clueless. And then all of a sudden, God just shows me. And so I said, stop me if this is something that's totally like something you would never, ever do. So I started telling her about our vision, you know, about going into the schools and going to youth groups and going to wherever you could possibly go to talk to kids. And she just was like, keep going, keep going, keep going. And I'm like, you know, kind of surprised actually, but it was just such a thing that God orchestrated. So in a short time, she came on board. We were going to send her away for training, and it ended up, COVID happened, so she ended up doing virtual training, which literally saved the center probably a couple $1,000s, because it was like $350 for her to do the virtual training. And so now she, you know, she has her RN, and now she has a certificate for sexual risk avoidance specialist. So she is young, she's energetic. I just adore her. She told me what she misses about college is research. I'm like, have at it, honey. You research all you want, you know. And she's like, I'm not stopping. I'm going for my master's. And I'm like, you've got a lot of energy. And so anyway, she's already picked out a curriculum. We've purchased the curriculum. And now she's in the process of trying to make contacts, which is kind of difficult because the schools are still trying to figure out what they're doing. But anyway, it's a wonderful thing. It's a good thing, and I'm very, very thankful for it. And she has lots of ideas about where to take this and how to reach people.
Wendy,
yes.
Is she making contact with churches like youth groups?
Yes. Yes. Yeah,
I
and,
think that would be a quick in
right,
to get
yeah.
her practice and rolling.
So the question, if you didn't hear, was, is she making contact with churches for youth groups? And the answer is she is. Yeah, she is. So that's good. And she actually rearranged her schedule to work 6 12-hour days so she could have 8 days off in order to do this. Yeah, can you imagine? Well, some of you probably can, 12 hours in a row, 6 days a week is a lot. I want to tell you that your girl, Alexis, she is a godsend to First Choice. She just does so much, and she has so much energy, and she's so enthusiastic, and she just knows how to do things that I don't know how to do. And I am just blessed beyond to have her come on board and do the things that she does. And you all have a gem in her. Love her family, and it's just very sweet having her with us. A couple of things that are coming up. I've already had questions when I came in. Are we still going to do our banquet this year? We are, but like everything else, it's going to be very different than what we've done in the past. And after our Defend Life event last year, our board made the decision that we needed to do an educational event every year in our community to equip believers to know how to interact and how to defend life. And I'm thankful for that, because I know just from interacting that so many of us wouldn't know what to say, don't know. I mean, you can have like such a passion in your heart and know what's right and know what's wrong, but then when somebody says, you know, I'm going to get an abortion, we're just like, you know, what do I say? So I'm thankful to tell you that we're doing this event on October 2nd, and it is going to be in person, but it's also going to be streamed. Now, last year we kind of were like pushing it toward like junior high to young 30s, but I think everybody needs to see this. Everybody needs to hear it. So I have out there are these cards, Defend Life. We're having it at Faith Church in Waterville. They're doing the, what's it called? The 50-person capacity. So they have 3 different rooms there where they can do 50 people. And then we're also streaming it on Faith Church Facebook page, because they're all set up. So we'll just stream it from there. I think that once it gets going, we can share it onto First Choice Facebook page as well, but that's Alexis's job, because I don't know this stuff. So that there, again, we're having the same speaker. We're having Seth Gruber come back because he was so fantastic and so dynamic last year. And I think, actually, one pastor, he didn't really promote the event in his church a whole lot, but he came to the event. And afterwards, he said, I really dropped the ball. He said, I had no clue what was going to take place here, so I didn't promote it. I really dropped the ball. And so this year, he is promoting it because it's just such fantastic information, and not just information, but information that can make the difference between life and death when you encounter scenarios with people around you. So October 2nd, Defend Life. It's a free event to come to. Seth Gruber will be coming. He also he's coming a week from tomorrow. He'll be here for the entire week. He's going to be doing interviews on some radio stations, 105.9, 88.5 up in Bangor. Where else? And a couple of secular stations as well. I can't tell you the name of them because I can't remember off the top. Again, Alexis set that up. And he is going to be speaking at Temple Academy for their opening that they have in the morning on Wednesday. So he will be doing various things. He was hoping to be able to get into like Colby and places like that, but because of COVID, I don't think that that's going to happen. So if you can promote this, if you can, talk to people, at the very least on October 2nd, bring it up on Facebook or get together and watch it or something. And I guarantee you will learn something about how to interact with those who are thinking abortion is a right thing. I didn't plan on saying this, but I had a woman stop by my house yesterday who is running for our area representative, and she didn't identify herself as a Republican or Democrat, but when I read her thing, she is Republican. And so she starts telling me that she is fiscally conservative and kind of moderate in other areas. And I just said, look, all I care about is where do you stand on life? I want to know, what do you think about abortion? Where do you stand on that? Because it tells me everything else about you that I need to know. And she was kind of hemming and hawing, and I thought, that tells me everything I need to know, because if she was for life, she would just simply say, I'm for life. I had a great conversation with her, and she knows a lot more about the life issue. And I got to tell her that abortion is not empowering to women. And, when women are making abortion decisions, they're in a crisis when they're making the decision. They're making the decision out of fear of losing a relationship, fear of not being able to provide for their child, fear of having to have the baby in the hospital by themselves, fear of not being able to complete their education, fear. It's all fear. It's fear. And it's not empowering to women. And then you have a baby who's dead. And a woman doesn't get over that. It's with her for the rest of her life. It affects her. And she was just standing there like she's never heard anybody talk about this stuff before. And so she said, well, what about in cases of rape? And I said, do you know that 75% of women who conceive in rape choose life for their baby? And she was like, what? And I said, yeah, and that baby ends up being healing to her heart. And so she was, I think she was just reeling, and I plan to have more conversations with her because I think she really hasn't made up her mind where she stands and she hasn't thought things through. So don't be afraid to speak to people who are going to be in office because they really, really don't know. They just haven't thought things through. I would think running as a Republican and being pro-life is kind of a platform of the Republican Party that she would have thought that all the way through to be able to have an answer, but she didn't really. But voting, again, when people talk about politics in church, I'm like, God is the one who made government. He just did. It's our responsibility to vote. And I obviously, I think that voting for somebody who is for life is extremely important. That's not even on my list. Okay, so I talked about the Defend Life event. Does anybody have questions about that? I know sometimes I think I'm getting information across and I'm leaving some things out. Do you all know where the Defend Life event is? Where is it? Faith Church. Do you have to go there to watch it? Nope. And what's the date? October 2nd, okay? Time is, the time is 7 o'clock. And there will be some worship beforehand, so doors will be open at 6:30. We are asking people to register, mainly because we want to know who's watching, and also we need to know, like, if 200 people are signing up for in-person, we've got to do something different about that. because there's only 150 places to sit. Well, there's more places, but that they will allow us to sit. So the next thing is our banquet. And you know, we're coming up on the season where we usually have our banquet. So about a month ago, I had been trying to call the Elks Lodge since March, and I kept leaving message after message after message. I even went to the Elks Lodge and tried to get in and couldn't. And every time there was this cheery voice, "I'm so sorry I missed your call. I will get right back to you." Well, now we're in July, and I still haven't gotten a call that I left a message in March. You know, something's wrong. So finally, a lady contacted me, and apparently the one who left the cheery message, she had gotten done, so somebody else was filling her shoes. And she said, we're in contact with the state every week, and they're telling us that the 50-person gathering limit is not going to be lifted, and if anything, it's going to shrink. And she said, so that would include the staff. So I was like, all right, we can't have a banquet. It's just not, it's not feasible, or at least not there. So then we kind of went back to the drawing board. All right, how are we going to do this? What is this going to look like? And I know that we're not the only ones. You guys are figuring out how do you do church if you're not in your building, right? So many heads, minds, prayer. We're going to do a virtual banquet. And I'm not sure if I told you, we were going to have Melissa Oden. And some of you are going, who's Melissa Oden? Well, Melissa Oden is an abortion survivor. And she was going to be our guest speaker. She has offered us to just like bump her for next year to come in person. So that's what we're going to do. Her story is absolutely incredible. I got to hear her tell this in person at a conference that I went to, and her grandmother, who was a head nurse, forced her mother to abort. Melissa lived. The grandmother told the other nurses, put the baby in the closet and just leave her, and the nurses said, absolutely not. They took her to NICU. She survived. You'll have to wait to hear the rest of her story. But it's just an amazing, amazing story. And if you've seen the Maine Vitae commercials, do you guys ever see those? I don't even know how to run our TV, but every now and then I'll see a commercial. There's too many buttons. She's standing in front of an ultrasound machine, and she's talking that she's survived an abortion. That's Melissa Oden. All right, so next year she will be in person, please, Lord willing. And she will be making a guest appearance via video at our virtual banquet this year. So, our virtual banquet, how are we going to do it? How are we going to pull this off? I still don't know all the details. Just going to be honest with you, but I'm quite sure it is going to happen. The date is, we changed it from a Thursday to a Friday, so Friday, October 23rd. I have all the information out there, right here as well, and your church has the information also. So, we were thinking, well, it's kind of boring to just, you know, go out on the streaming. See, I don't even know the terminology of this stuff. Go out on the streaming and just sit in your home and watch it. And one of our board members said, well, what am I gonna eat for this banquet? And so I joked, I said, get one of those banquet frozen meals, cook it, and you're fine, you know? So anyway, as it kind of progressed, what we're going to do is, you know how we've had table hosts in the past? So, you know, somebody says, okay, I will invite enough people to fill an 8-person table. We're still asking for people to be a host. The only difference is you're inviting them to your home. And you women are already going, oh boy, I got to cook for 8 people. No, you don't have to cook for 8 people because Lori Dumont at the parsonage house is going to cook for us. And she is going to box to-go meals. So the host goes to the parsonage house, picks up the box meal, takes it home, and serves her guests. The only thing the host has to provide is a drink, a beverage, and then have fellowship, and then gets to watch the banquet. How does that sound? Yeah, thanks. It wasn't my plan. Actually, my daughter-in-law came up with that idea, and I was like, you're brilliant, thank you. Then I shared it with Alexa. She said, she's brilliant, we love it. So then I called Lori. Lori said, I love it, it's going to be so much fun. And I'm thinking, I wouldn't want to cook for that many people, but she does. So anyway, that is how it's going to work, but obviously, people can watch it without inviting people into their home, and I know some people are really sensitive and reasons why you can't invite people into your home, and that's absolutely fine. So you can stream and, just watch it on your own, or you can make it into this event where you invite the people in. And one person said, but I want to cook for my guests, and I said, have at it, go right ahead, that's fine too. So we're doing that on this paper. If you're interested in being a host, we would really love to know that. This paper tells you exactly what your responsibilities are in a step-by-step process, and it's pretty simple. I don't know about you, ladies, but what I've discovered is I absolutely love having people in my home, but I really dislike making food for all of them. And it's not because I don't like cooking. It's because I'm like, oh no, what if they don't like this? What if they don't like that? What if that burns? What if there's too many what ifs? So the fact that Lori is all excited about making this meal, and I'll tell you because you're here, I know that it's going to be roast chicken, roast potatoes, fall salad, and biscuits, and yummy stuff. I don't know if you've ever eaten her food, but it is fantastic and delicious. So we really need people to say, yes, I want to have, host. We're calling it hosting a watch party, a virtual watch party. And again, I'm not exactly sure. It will be streamed probably via Facebook and other platforms, maybe YouTube, maybe Vimeo. I don't have those details right here, right now, but we will have them soon. So that would be great if you could help us out in that area. And I kind of think that we might end up reaching more people because it's easier to invite a friend to your home than maybe to a banquet. Because everybody's worried, well, what do I wear? What do I, what is this, all this? But if you go into a friend's home, that's something different. So that is that. Any questions about that? Was it as clear as mud, or you got it? All right. So there's, like I said, there's a paper out there. If you're interested in being a host, wanting to invite people to your home, I have a clipboard out there to sign up for. Also, I have, like usual, if you want to be a prayer partner or if you're interested in volunteering. By the way, we need some more board members. And your church typically, all the board members that have come from this church have been fantastic. So if anybody is feeling strongly like this is something that the Lord would have you do, please act on that. We're down to 4 board members. We're supposed to be acting at 5 board members, somewhere between 5 and 9. So if that's something that God's tapping your heart about, that would be wonderful. And it's really not a difficult thing. The board does get along. I hear other boards sometimes can be kind of, but I've not seen that. Everybody's on the same page. We like each other, and all is well. And it really is serving. We have one board meeting a month, and we pretty much have those down to 2 hours or under, except for a rare occasion, and then attending the events that we have throughout the year. So it's not like this great big huge time commitment. Just trying to think of answering questions before you guys ask. And you could always ask Dick. Dick served on the board, thankfully. And Dick, you set a fantastic foundation. So thank you for your service there. What else? Virtual banquet, board members. What else am I missing? You didn't sing, you threw me off. Any questions, burning questions?
So you have noticed an increase in traffic, either virtual, phone, walk-in?
Yes, yes. Specifically abortion-minded, which is what, you know, I mean, we love to minister to other, but obviously our goal is to rescue babies and to rescue the moms and dads from the heartache of having had an abortion. And we did change our advertising. So we're doing some Google keyword advertising. And for a few months, I thought it wasn't really working, but then we started getting an increase in calls. So we, at least one a week now, but usually more than that, which is substantial compared to what it was before as far as abortion-minded goes. And the number of ultrasounds, we're still doing quite a few ultrasounds, and the pregnancy tests that go along with that, sending out the parenting classes, prenatal classes. We have one of the videos that we can send out is ministering to women who have had a miscarriage, and we've used that more than I would like to in the past couple of weeks, but I'm thankful to have that. Yeah, I'm just, and I feel like, you know, years of praying, you know, God help us to see how do we reach these abortion-minded girls, women.
Do you have any feel for women, men and women coming in eye to eye, face to face versus virtual? I mean, are people comfortable doing this telecommuting or virtual versus?
Well, when I say virtual, I really mean that, you know, we're not doing like a Zoom. We're not doing that. We're talking to them on the phone, we're texting with them, and we're sending them videos and then responding back and forth with texting or phone. So that's what I mean by virtual in that sense. But I don't see any fear of people coming in. And they're so excited that we are open and willing to let them come in.
That's what I was asking.
Yeah.
You're not reticent?
No, not at all.
Good.
Not at all. And they're just very happy to be able to come face to face. So I'm thankful for that, because I would much rather do face to face. So.
How many women call you and are surprised you're not an abortion clinic? Are they calling by, you shared once where a lady called and.
Right, yes.
Is that a common occurrence, or is it?
It's a pretty common occurrence, but we always tell them up front, we don't provide abortions, nor do we refer for abortions. And then, we change the narrative a little bit. We'll change to, have you had a pregnancy test? Have you, do you know that you're pregnant? Have you had an ultrasound? Because, you know, one of the problems with this abortion pill is prescribing it to women who have not had an ultrasound. And if they have an ectopic pregnancy, it can literally kill them. So if you don't know that that pregnancy is in the uterus and they start taking this stuff, it literally can kill them. We actually had a client this year who she had a pregnancy test at First Choice. With our texting, I have it on my phone, so one weekend she texted that number and she said, I'm having these, you know, awful cramps and, you know, just explaining all of the details. And I said, you need to go to the emergency room right away. Well, she ignored that and she didn't go that day. And so she went to work and then collapsed at work. And she did have an ectopic pregnancy and she almost died. And those of you who are on Prayer Partners, you prayed for her. But the doctor told her your life was right there because she didn't respond to going to get it checked out. She just thought that, you know, she was having cramps or something. But, I mean, and I'm not a nurse or anything, so I would always tell people, you know, you make sure that you go to the emergency room because I can't give medical advice, but it's like, go get it checked out.
I think it's actually a good thing if they call you. I don't think it's a bad thing if they don't necessarily know up front. It's a way for them to intervene there.
Yes, absolutely. And just like that girl, you know, she said, why does this keep happening to me? And I was like, I can tell you why. You know, God orchestrated this. And I mean, I'm sure there's a whole bunch that don't call us, but with this keyword advertising, and don't ask me to explain it because you've gotten by now that I'm not a technology person, but it puts us like, when they search in this area, we come up as like number 1. So that's why we're getting more calls. Any other questions? Yeah, sorry.
I thought I heard you say maybe it was months ago or maybe a long time ago that you were looking for a different location.
Yes.
Is that still true?
Yes, it is still true, but you did miss it. So it's still on the table. We still have a heart to be more downtown where we can have foot traffic, but right now with everything going on, it's kind of, it's not off the table, but it's more like we're waiting on the Lord to show where we could be. So that's it. And our heart is still to have our own location, you know, to have our own building that somebody couldn't kick us out of. But we'll just see how that goes. Yeah.
Do you know offhand in the past year how many women have had their babies because they had interaction with First Choice?
I don't have that. I don't have that statistic here tonight. Usually I go through that in preparation for the banquet. But it is interesting that we've had, I think, 3 who were contemplating abortion, then they chose life for their baby, and then they miscarried. Which is, you know, but then I thought, you know, Lord, you knew she was going to miscarry, but now she doesn't have that guilt. You know, she knows that she was choosing life for her baby. She doesn't have that guilt that would happen with having had an abortion. So, any other questions? You're usually good at telling me I left out something. Did I leave anything out? Oh, no, I talked about that. Oh, no, I didn't talk about that. Thanks. I thought I did. Our board has decided for us to move in the direction of start doing STD testing. And the reason we would do that is to build relationships and be able to speak truth into the lives of these people. And our medical director, Dr. Garth Miller, who actually lives in Puget Sound, way over in Washington, but he comes to Maine every year. He has, you know, his kids are here and stuff, so he came into the center a few weeks ago and observed an ultrasound and all of that. And so I was talking to him about, you know, us moving in the direction of having STD testing, and he said, I think it's a fantastic idea. I think you need to do this. And, you know, one of my big questions was, are you willing to be the medical director over that aspect as well? And he said, absolutely. And, you know, with some wisdom, he said, don't reinvent the wheel, find somebody that's doing it. So I know that ABBA, the pregnancy center down in Portland, they're already doing it. First Step up in Bangor is already doing it. So there's a couple of centers in Maine who are doing it. And I don't have all the details right now about it, but sometime in the near future, we will be adding that to the services that we have. So, thanks. Okay. Good.
Wendy, it was perfect. Really appreciate being here.
I'm thankful for the opportunity. Yeah.
If you would
So,
be willing to go before you,
yeah.
brief folks,
Sure.
appreciate that.
Sure, sure.
Well spent.